or high. Cairns, the city in a northeast part of the Australian state of Queensland, the centre of the area of the same name of local government. The population of the area by estimates for 2008 made about 159,000 people. Cairns, the 14th Australian city by the number of inhabitants. The nearest large town, Townsville. It is located in 300 kilometers in the south. Cairns is located on east coast of the peninsula of Cape York Peninsula, in a coastal strip between the Coral Sea and the Atherton Plateau, which average height is 700 meters above sea level. The mountain ridge, which height of separate peaks reaches meters, is located between the plateau and the area Cairns, so for example Mount Bartlefrere height, English Mount Bartlefrere, is equal meters. This ridge plays an important role in distribution of climatic zones of this region. From west side the area T-blends on the Atherton Plateau. Subtropical climate. From east side, Cairns, tropical climate. City extent from the south on the north is 35 kilometers. Cairns is crossed by two rivers, Barron and Mulgrave. They, as well as all other rivers of the area, short and rapids, originate on the Atherton Plateau. Estuary of the river Mulgrave, which now changed the course, was very convenient for construction of big port that in many respects predetermined successful development of the city. At distance of 40 kilometers from Cairns in the Coral Sea, the Great Barrier Reef begins. Before arrival of Europeans around Mackay, the Australian natives of tribes of Availyabar of Ayudinda traditionally lived. In 1770 James Cook, during the first global cruise, described the coast of Cairns and appropriated the name to its Gulf, Trinity. Within the next 100 years, new sea expeditions studied this area in more detail and found the convenient location for a future port. Cairns was founded in 1876 and called in honor of William Cairns, being at the time the governor of the state of Queensland. Need of creation of the new coastal settlement was connected with opening on the Atherton Plateau of large-scale deposits of gold in areas of the Palmer Rivers, English Palmer River, and Hodkinson, and tin on the Herbert River. Also, the port for export of minerals was required to construct roads from fields to the coast. Originally, Cairns competed about Port Douglas, a similar settlement located 60 kilometers to the north. Position of Cairns was strengthened after realization of a number of successful agricultural projects. Valleys of the neighboring rivers, to the south of and to the west of Cairns, began to be used actively for agriculture and livestock production. The population of the area gradually increased, and by 1885 the area acquires the right for self-government. Construction in 1886 to the railway line on the Atherton Plateau to the city of Herberton became the important event stimulating development of the area. This project brought many new jobs and stimulated development of new territories. On lowlands began to grow up sugar cane, corn, rice, bananas, pineapples. On the plateau, the dairy livestock production and pasturable economy developed. Fruit, including avocado, a wild strawberry, a citrus and mango were grown up. Cairns gradually expands and becomes the regional center. Mangrove swamps and sandy ridges are filled up with breed from pits, waste from construction of the railroad and sawdust from sawmills. The port extends. In 1903 the population of Cairns increases to 3,500 inhabitants and he is officially given the status of the city.
During World War II, Cairns was used by Allied forces as intermediate point of movement of troops to areas of combat operations in the Pacific Ocean and New Guinea.
After World War II, and Cairns began to pay more attention to development of travel business. In 1984 the International Airport Cairns was open. In 1997 the Convention Centre. The multipurpose complex uniting the concert hall and the covered sports arena. Further development of tourist infrastructure helped to create to the city image of the International Tourist Centre. Now the industry of tourism brings the largest income in the budget of the area Cairns. On the second place there is a sugar industry. All free lands around the city are used for cultivation of a sugar cane. Also in the area several plants processing reed are located. Population 2008 158,653. 2014 146,778. The industry of tourism plays an important role in area economy. On attendance foreign tourists, Cairns is the fourth Australian region after Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane.
The Great Barrier Reef, damp tropics of Queensland and the Atherton Plateau and also tropical climate and sandy beaches of the Coral Sea are of the greatest interest to foreign tourists in this area.
Tourist infrastructure of the city includes a large number of hotels, holiday houses, beaches, cafes and restaurants. In the central part of the city along the coast of the sea, the Esplanade. The wide boulevard for footwalks extends. It is interesting to note that in this place of the sea it isn't visible. Instead of him it is possible to see only the fenny swamp with rare vegetation and the pelicans who are walking about on him and herons. Around Cairns a set of special amusement parks and attractions is constructed, various excursions and entertaining tours are offered. For example exist, wine tours, including visit of wineries and tasting of various wines, and for fans of thrills, the excursion to a crocodile farm is offered. It is possible to visit Paranella Park. The loch, in the Spanish style, constructed in the center of the tropical forest. In the city there is the zoo, the Tropical Zoo Cairns, and a botanical garden. In November 2012 Cairns was capital of a total solar eclipse at which to look there arrived a great number of tourists. The fauna of the area Cairns is rich and various. Many representatives are dangerous to the person. In the forest it is possible to meet venomous snakes, spiders, malarial mosquitoes and crocodiles. Grebnisty crocodiles, sharks, and venomous sea serpents live in coastal waters. Also at coast of northeast Queensland, during the period from November to May the probability to meet poisonous jellyfishes sharply increases. The special signs located along the coast warn about it. It is recommended to bathe only on the beaches fenced with grids. Here different types of poisonous jellyfishes, including a sea wasp, whose death from a burn comes within 3 minutes, Cornero live. T. Medusa of an Iracanza, Portuguese ship. The artificial lagoon is constructed near the central business region of Cairns. Here it is possible to sunbathe and to swim safely in the big artificial pool, which depth fluctuates from 0.8 to 1.6 meters. Beaches are located to the north from the downtown. In total them around 10. They begin within the city, such as Halluvies Beach, English Holloways Beach, or Trinity Beach, and come to an end with the most northern and wild beach, Ellis Scourge. A beach is a wide sandy coastal strip. Places for swimming are fenced with a grid. There is a rescue service. Usually beaches are open from 9 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening. The Great Barrier Reef, a ridge of coral reefs and islands in the Coral Sea, the most attractive place in the world for fans of diving. It is located less than an hour away from the city. Sea and air excursions and special diving tours are available to tourists. Daintree Rainforest. The tropical forest close to the city of Cairns is a part of damp tropics of Queensland. In the forest, the national park, remaining as the UNESCO World Heritage Site, was created. The Atherton Plateau, the plateau beginning in 50 kilometers to the west of Cairns.
It is well known for beautiful landscapes, lakes, craters of extinct volcanoes, unique flora and fauna.
Kuranda, English Kuranda, the small town in 30 kilometers to the north from Cairns. During the special excursion of Kuranda Tour of tourists, the trip by ancient train on the ancient mountain road Kuranda Sensenik, conducting through tunnels and gorges by falls and rainforest waits. In Kuranda it is possible to do gift shops, restaurants, or to visit a greenhouse of tropical butterflies. After that, two tourists suggest to go down to the sea on 70 kilometer cableway paved over impassable tropical forests. Below it is possible to visit the village of natives of Tefapukai, where not only it is possible to look as indigenous Australians or as they extract friction via sing and dance, but also most to learn to throw a spear and boomerangs. From Cairns to Kuranda it is possible to get in independently on the highway by the car or the bus.
Because of absence in all territory of Queensland of large reservoirs in various districts of the state, there are periods when the shortage of fresh water is felt.
Several short but deep rivers and 2,200 mm of rainfall in a year allowed Cairns to avoid these problems until recently. With growth of the population of the area, also the water consumption increased. There was a need of creation of an artificial reservoir. In 1976, on the small mountain, small river Freshwater Creek, the dam Cupperlad was constructed. The formed lake called Morris.
It is located in 12 kilometers to the west from the central business region of Cairns and contains 37.1 million m.
Waters. In 1963, on the Barron River, the hydroelectric power station of Barron Gods, English Barron Gorge, was constructed. The power plant is located in 20 kilometers from the city. Electric power -60 MUM is equipped with 2 turbines. Cairns is the important transport hub of a northern part of Queensland. Through there pass the main highways, the railroad. Near the city, the international airport and seaport are located. For residents of Cairns, motor transport is a main type of transport. Highway, Bruce. English Bruce Highway. Begins in Brisbane, throughout 1700 kilometres, goes along the coast of the state of Queensland and comes to an end in Cairns. Further on the northeast to Mosman there is Captain Cook Highway. Now, because of increase in number of residents of the area, many highways are overloaded, for example Bruce Highway near the southern suburbs. Regional Council of Cairns studies options of modernisation of overpasses. In the western direction, on the Atherton Plateau, conduct Highway, Kennedy, and Highway, Gordon Vale.
Moving on them, it is possible to get to the settlements located in the central and northern parts of the peninsula of Cape York Peninsula and to the cities of the neighboring state, the Northern Territory.
In Cairns it is possible to use services of long-distance bus traffic. There are bus flights to Brisbane and the regional centres in the south. Also there are flights to the west to Mount Isa through Townsville and further to Alice Springs and Darwin. The state, the Northern Territory. Public transport of the city includes bus traffic between all main districts of the city, a coastal zone and the neighbouring cities. It is round the clock possible to use taxi services. In Cairns the railway line Northcoast, which begins in Brisbane and goes north along the coast of Queensland, comes to an end. All way on time takes 32 hours. From Brisbane to Townsville the train drives at the maximum speed of 160 km/h. The last part of a way, between Townsville and Cairns, the train drives on diesel draft of 7 hours at the maximum speed less than 80 km/h, though here to drive the car only 4 hours. From Cairns to the town of Kuranda, the railroad for tourists, Kuranda conducts. Ways are laid on the neighbouring mountains and allow to admire city views, tropical forests, mountain falls. The seaport of Cairns is located in the small bay Trinity Inlet. In the Gulf Trinity Bay, the biggest gulf of the Coral Sea. The port of Cairns unites the sea cargo port and moorings for private boats and yachts. The port is the most important component of travel business of the city.
From port sea tours to the Great Barrier Reef by the walking ships accommodating up to 300 passengers and on small private boats daily go.
The big cruise vessels making swimmings by the southern part of the Pacific Ocean also come into the port. About Port Douglas, both other neighbouring coastal areas and large islands adjusted regular ferry traffic. Annually through the cargo port of Cairns there pass 1.13 million tons of various freights. Nearly 90% from them loose or liquid, including oil, sugar, molasses, fertilizers, the liquefied oil gas. In port a large number of fishing trawlers is also located. In Cairns the base of Navy of Australia is located. On the basis of 900 servicemen and 14 warships, including 4 patrol, Armidale, boats, 4 of 6 landing the Balikpapan ship and all 6 ships of military hydrographic service. The International Airport Cairns is important for local travel business. Located on the northern outskirts of the city, it is the 6th airport of the country on a passenger traffic. The most loaded internal flights. In decreasing order: Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. The most loaded international flights, the International Airport Narita, the International Airport Cebu. The airport is also base for service, the Flying Doctor. And here helicopters of service of rescue are based. Cairns, on Köpen's classification, is located in a zone of hot tropical climate. The rainy season with tropical monsoons lasts from December to April, and rather dry season from May to November, though these months many rainfall drops up. On average in a year in Cairns about 2200 mm of rainfall drop up. Tropical heavy rains often become the reason of floods of two rivers of Cairns, Barron and Mulgrave. Spreading the rivers can block the railroad and the highway conducting to the city and by that to cut off Cairns from the outside world. Cairns, as well as the majority of other areas of northern Queensland, is located on the way of the movement of tropical cyclones which are usually formed during the period from November to May. The Larry cyclone, English cyclone Larry, was one of the last strong tropical cyclones. The strongest brunt of the disaster fell on the southern districts of Cairns at 7 o'clock in the morning on March 20, 2006. Wind gusts reached the speed of 300 km/h. The fifth highest category was appropriated to a hurricane. In Cairns and its suburbs every fourth building was damaged. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.